welcome to this is our fourth guest interview with one of my favorite men, just in general, but also in the realm of conscious relating, intimacy, relationships. How do we take the way we relate in sexuality, romance, love, and take it to a depth of honesty, vulnerability, love that perhaps for many of us we've never experienced before. We've been doing a lot of work around focusing on the relationship with self, and now this most recent module is how do we actually engage in intimate relationship as a practice, whether we're in a monogamous relationship, whether we're in an open or a polyamorous relationship, or we're interested in exploring new ways of relating where we can actually feel safe to push these edges that in the culture we live in does a pretty good job of making us feel bad about. Mm-hmm. And Rob is just doing amazing work. He's about to come out with a book called Unhidden, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And can you tell us the name of that book again?
It's called Unhidden. The working title is Unhidden. It's a book for men and those confused by them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I just loving what Rob is doing in the world and have a lot of respect for him. So what I would love to do, Rob, is open up the floor to you. Tell us a bit about who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Well, let's see. My name is Rob Kandell. I am a life and business coach and a podcaster. And I am here just because I can't give up this life of service. And I can't give up this life of service because the way people relate and what I see in the world basically just infuriates me. It really pisses me off on how unoptimized is probably the nicest way to say it, people's relationships are. And it's really no one's fault. I think that's the most important thing is I have this viewpoint. We beat ourselves up. We live in a society of disapproval. And we live in really mediocre relationships because we don't take the time to educate ourselves, to communicate, to educate our partners of who we are and what we want. And what we do is we secretly think very hard, stop doing that, stop doing that, stop doing that, and we expect them to figure it out. And it's not happening. And so my role in life, my purpose is to educate people, to learn to talk, to learn to listen. And the concept of unhidden is to bring out what's inside out, to move past our optimized social media profiles, to move past the places where we think we should be good rather than real, so we can authentically live in the world, authentically relate, and actually have the kind of life we want rather than the life that we don't have because we're too scared to speak the truth.
Mm-hmm. Amen. And, a big part of what I appreciate about the work that you do, Rob, is you share a lot about your marriage and the dynamics in your relationship. And I'm curious if you're open to share, what the course of how long you guys have been together, mm-hmm. And how you've crafted your relationship to really meet the needs and desires of both parties involved.
What really came with a belief that I didn't believe in relationship. I didn't believe a woman could handle the totality of who I am, because I have a big personality. I have a big appetite, hence the name. Really, I have a big appetite for life and experiences and other women. And I just thought there was I would explode a woman with how big I was. And then I met Morgan, and everything shifted because I found in her a woman who could hold all of me. And I had to change a lot of who I thought I was and what I thought I wanted because I found a woman who is just amazing. I mean, A, she's the nicest person I've ever met. B, she's curious and exciting. And 3, she just wants to go on this dynamic life. I'm open to all questions. She laughs when I talk about ourselves, sometimes with an ironic smile, but really has given me permission to use my life and our relationship as a template of what I think works and what doesn't work.
Beautiful. There's a lot of different places this can go. You know, a lot of conversations have been coming up for people who are currently in appetite, who have been in relationship for a while.
Hmm.
Some of them are in open relationships. Some of them are exploring what does it look like to have a totally turned on, exciting monogamous relationship.
Hmm.
And I guess what I just want to open the floor to is, how do you navigate this exploration of what you actually want in relationship? Like, why do you choose monogamy? Why do you choose open relationship?
Well, first, just know it's a pain in the ass, and it's going to suck sometimes. It's just hard. And here's some of the reasons. The first is we all have wounds. We all have a lot of childhood wounds. We all have trauma. We have abandonment issues. We had parents that paid too much attention, too little attention. We've had experiences with other human beings that involve in our system. And so we're just walking around with a lot of positive and negative charge in our body from our history. Then you meet someone who has a mirror or some kind of reason you've magnetized them into your life. So often the compliment. So, you want to have someone, push your buttons. Well, you find that person. We have unique talent to magnetize the right person to evoke the most sensation in our body, and if they don't evoke a sensation, we dump them. But just know, like, we hate our partners. We love our partners. We love everything in between. That's the thing. The last thing that's challenging is that we are evolving human beings. Who I was a year ago is very different from where I am today. And society has said we want our partners not to change. We get into a relationship, we make an agreement, and there's this implicit thing that you're going to evolve, but not evolve past my point of comfort. And what we really do is we want our partners to evolve, but we don't have the skill or the trust to let them evolve. So wounds, connection, button pushing, evolution, which is just the recipe for a lot of sensation. If you want to be in a relationship, you should sign on the bottom line. I know you're going to change. I'm going to be behind your change. I'm going to have feelings about your change. And let's change. Let's evolve. So, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I feel like the conversation that I've been having and finding with clients, and this it is crazy. Like, love is crazy. Relationship is crazy. So it's the question of, if we want to let our full passion and our full truth out, knowing that we're engaging in this crazy game, it's like, how do we know when something is over? How do we know when something just needs to evolve? Like, how can you ever really know?
You never do.
You never do.
Never do. I mean, here's the thing. So first thing I'll say is, one of my favorite saying is, the fastest way to find a needle in a haystack is to take off your shoes. Step on it. That's the fastest way to find out anything. Ow. Oh, there it is. So, okay, get this. Maybe think in terms of acid, plant, like expand your mind, okay? We only say things are good or bad based on our goals. That's it. Everything else and everything we relate to is arbitrary if we judge it's good or bad. So in a relationship, if you want to have a tortured relationship and you're in a relationship that tortures you, you're good. You're winning. Now, sometimes these desires are conscious. Sometimes they're subconscious. And a lot of times we create circumstances. We think, oh, I want to be in a sweet Disney-like relationship. But really, no, our childhood wounds are saying, no, I want this person to torture me because my mom tortured my dad or whatever. And so we're unconsciously saying, please torture me, please torture me, please torture me, please torture me. And we think it's bad, but really it's what our soul is asking for because we want to heal around it. And what you judge as good is arbitrary, because what you think good, yesterday might change till today, because we're dynamic, evolving human beings. And we never know. We just never know.
Well, and a couple things come up for that, because one is just like this intense fear of codependency. right? Like the shame and the judgment around codependency. And I know for myself, a big thing that has me freak out in relationship is the judgment of like, is this healthy? Like, is this a healthy relationship? And how do you advise couples when it's like there is no roadmap, and what's true for one couple is not true for the other? So how do we create a place where we can stay connected to our own sanity and our own anchor as we're going into this crazy land with another person who's got their own form of crazy?
The only thing I can recommend is be honest with yourself. And I think this is a missing piece in relationships. We refuse to be honest with ourselves. We sell and buy our own bullshit constantly. And if you want to know how to be in a non-healthy relationship, and healthy in itself is arbitrary. Like who decides it's healthy or not healthy? Certainly not society, not Vogue magazine, not, Oprah. Like, we have to truly decide what's healthy for us, and what you think is healthy is going to change. Think about when you were 18 years old. What's healthy is the guy talked to you or the woman talked to you. And now it's like, you better treat me with respect. So your healthy is going to evolve over time. But the way to find out if it's healthy or not healthy or toxic or real or whatever is to be honest with yourself first. Wow, I find myself really shutting down in this relationship. This is not my goal. I have to either change the relationship or bail. And a lot of people won't even do that. They think, oh, I better stay in this relationship because he provides the house and the security. I better stay in this relationship because she looks good on my arm. Like, whatever the voice is, you need to go under the top level and go down to the depth of your soul, be honest with yourself, and say, this is what I want and this is what I don't want. And if it's what you don't want, then the next step is to communicate to your partner, when this happens, I don't like it, which people don't do either. But start with yourself.
Thank you. So I want to play a little bit with male-female dynamics.
All right.
The first question that I have is, I want you to take us a bit into the mind of a man in relationship with a woman.
Okay.
When a woman is exploring her own desire, when a woman is allowing her desire to grow bigger, and she's wanting to explore perhaps outside of the relationship or something like that, or is just wanting to do things in the relationship that perhaps she hasn't wanted to do before. What is the most challenging thing? What is the most challenging thing for men in that place?
Wow. Okay. So there's a lot of levels to this question. I'll start with the one that popped in my head. The first is, men get validation. This is most men. So just know I'm speaking in absolutes, but everything's gradations. So I'm going in the statistical cultural mean rather than there's outliers on both ends. So please, if you're a man that doesn't work for it, just know that I know that. Okay. So men pride themselves on the concept of production. When a man is producing, that's a lot where he gets his self-validation from. A woman prides herself from her attractiveness. So this is a very different dynamic. So if a man feels like he's winning in his production, the chance of him being happy with himself and the relationship increases significantly. So if a woman is saying, I want this to change, and his production gets threatened, he's going to feel threatened. So if you go to your partner and say, hey, I'd like to open the relationship and start having sex with this demographic, he has fear that demographic is going to be better in bed than he is. His production is going to get threatened and he's going to freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If a man has a viewpoint that he wants his woman to have the richest, this is my viewpoint. I'll be honest. I want my partner, I want Morgan, to have the richest, vastest, dynamic sex life. She can have sex with anyone because in my mind, my production, and she might have better sex with someone else. I know this. I actually think it's statistically guaranteed on some level that she could. She not would, but she could. But because my production, my desire for her is for her to be so happy, rich, and fulfilled, my production's not threatened. It's actually encouraged because I'm creating the space for her to have everything she wants. Mm. And that's just a simple viewpoint that I have that a lot of men don't have, which enables me to be free in this area.
Well, I would go a layer deeper and say it's not just a viewpoint, because there's some serious self-reflection and deep knowing that you've had to do to get to a place where it's not going to become a comparison game for you.
Right. And I was the guy with a lot of doubt who went through 18 years now of jealousy training, and it's evolved. But in the beginning, I was a red hot mess because of it. I've just evolved my viewpoints, done the deep work to have those viewpoints change. And now it's like, please have everything you want. I love when you are free. That turns me on when you're free.
Mm. Can you remember a specific circumstance of, so when you were doing your jealousy research, can you remember different circumstances of like, oh, when this woman did this, it was such a great way of allowing me to want her to have her freedom. Like there was this way that she engaged with me where I could feel like compersion, for example, the term compersion of just genuine appreciation for another person's pleasure. So basically asking, are there ways that you have found women can bring their desire to the table in this way where it's easier for men to receive?
Well, the first thing is that you need to have really deep, honest conversations with your partner. You have to be patient. This is not like, hey, honey, I want to have an open relationship and tomorrow you're going off to get some nookie from someone else. No, this can be a week, a month, 6 months. This could be a year conversation. And a lot of men are going to require that much time. Now, here's what women do poorly. Is women have a thought, I want to have an open relationship on, let's just say, March 1st. And they think about it on March 15th and April 1st and April 15th and May 1st. And then they drop a hint on May 13th. And then they drop another hint on May 27th. And June 1st, they actually have the conversation. So they have 3 months of energy, in one taste terms, tumescence around the desire to get it on with someone else. And so they say to their partner, basically, energetically, I want to have sex with someone else. Even if they're saying, honey, I've thought about having an open relationship, but then I want to, it's just like 3 months of, And then the guy's like, what the fuck is going on? I'll have a conversation with you, but please put the tiger back in the cage. I'm feeling threatened. My genitals might get chopped off. And so you're doing the world a disservice by lying, withholding for 3 months your desire. So the first thing to do is you have the thought on March 1st, you do journaling on March 2nd, you have a conversation with your girlfriend on March 3rd, you call me on March 4th, and March 5th you say, honey, I had this thought a few days ago, I want to talk to you about it. And so it's in real time. There's not a lot of energy behind it. And then you have an honest conversation. Now, he might be like, hell yes, let's do it. He might be, I'm out of here, or usually somewhere in between. And then you have the conversation where you enroll him into the possibility of it. You acknowledge and welcome to bring his fears and his desires into the conversation without result. You get into like, this is for building our relationship. I want you to know all of me. I want to know all of you. And then let's say by April 1st, you're ready to start checking out those special websites or talking to that special friend of yours or whatever. But take the time to build the foundation rather than explode.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Most people don't do it. And, that's the toxic form of withholding desire is it builds. Desires don't go away. I'm sorry. Every single desire you have is in your body somewhere. It might have morphed, but it's sitting there. It's ready. It wants to come out. So, yeah.
You just nailed me there.
Yeah, you got a little lost there. I saw you.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I've just, Jarman says yes. Well, it makes me think of Like I was just talking to a friend and coach of mine a couple of days ago, and it's like I can feel something so deeply, and then because I feel the intensity of it, I feel like I need to share it in that moment. When in reality, what he was saying is like you actually have to take the time to let it sit and percolate and just like really discern whatever wisdom's there and then be able to meet the person.
I think that's crap.
You think it's crap?
That's all I think it's crap. Because think about the spiritual bypass you just talked about. Have a desire and sit and let it percolate. No, the wisdom. I'm not saying vomit on your partner. I'm saying but let it be real. Reveal yourself. We're so afraid to be dynamic, huge human beings that we worry about the fragile male ego. He can't handle that. And that's where we make men really dumb. And that's where we emasculate men, is that we think that they can't handle all of us. And then we prove it by not telling them the truth. But I'm not saying, I agree on the point, don't vomit on him. But in real time, if you have an authentic desire in real time and you tell your partner, I almost guarantee if you say it in a way that's like, I want to share this with you, I want to reveal, I want you to know all of me, he's going to be like, really? What's up? Oh my God, I have feelings about that. Really, what are the feelings? Well, my feelings are my production's going to be threatened and you're going to have better sex with someone else. Well, okay, let's talk about that. And then it becomes a knowing rather than a spiritual bypass, flattening out the desire until it's socially acceptable.
Yeah.